servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve Ramon and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramon.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramon, and I am thrilled to have you join us today. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose, serving others, and yes, achieving success. We believe when you approach our work and our lives with a servant's heart, we can truly make a difference. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. Whether you're an entrepreneur, community leader, or simply someone looking to bring more purpose into your daily life, this podcast is here to support you, and I think more important, uplift you. So let's dive in together. But before we dive in, paper and pen, because this guest is going to bring you so much knowledge. You're going to want to write it down. I got my pen ready. You probably can't see it, but I'm ready to go. But I want you to think about how you're going to serve today and what impact you create today. The key word there is today. As I always say, don't wait till tomorrow, because then it might be a week. Start serving people today. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Picture yourself joining an elite community of thriving business owners from a variety of industries, all working together to create a powerful referral marketplace. It's an incredible opportunity to expand your network and elevate your business to new heights. So with that being said, this guest is not a brainiac, but she's a brain. And she'll explain that in a minute. I'll explain that. Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you for having me here.
So you're a coach. You work with major business, great accolades behind you, which are so fantastic. But the brain is the most important thing when it comes to business, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Why would you say that?
Well, when I work with my clients, one of the things I'm helping them to do is utilize their prefrontal cortex better. And this is where our productivity comes from, our ability to prioritize, sequence, plan ahead, be productive, be organized, and all these aspects. If we're not taking care of our brain, those things aren't going to go as well as we are wishing, or maybe at all. So this is an area that I focus in or on.
It's a great area, because this is what you just described as a business failing, if they're failing at one, two, or all those situations. This is talked about a lot, Julie. Why do people still need coaches after 20 years of personal development? Hey, mindset's important, brain. Why are we not getting it?
You know, a lot of it is we're learning more and more every year. So there's more information that's coming out. Plus, you know, it's funny that you actually asked that, because when I first started my career, which was a few decades ago, I thought, okay, I'm going to help everybody get organized and be able to do all this. And then when everyone's all set, then I'll find something else to do, because then everyone will be fixed. I forgot the fact that not every, a couple decades, there's a new generation of people that don't know what to do. So I have never had a lull, if you will, because this is something that we're always needing to learn. And it's not just basic, the basics that I was teaching, decades ago, but the things that we are needing to be able to do as they evolve. Okay, well, now that we've got technology, and we've had technology for a while, but I started back in the paper and pen days, what what are you able to do now that you've got this technology? How do you keep it from being a distraction and have it be an asset? So I'm always keeping up with the times and what's going on and how we're using things now. Okay, now, don't go down the chat GPT road with me, but we gotta be utilizing that properly and not letting that take over. So there's a lot there, and that's it never stops. It just keeps going. There's always new things happening in the world. So
that's so well said, Julie, because I didn't think about that. Every year there's new people coming in the workforce.
Yeah.
College students, trades, we'll all have situations. So it's going to be a full funnel of people that are always going to be there.
Always. Yes.
That's very cool. Why do you focus on working with the neurodiverse population?
Well, that's a good question, and there's a story there. So I started originally as a business consultant and professional organizer, and I was working with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And about 20 years ago, literally this year, 20 years, every single one of my clients said, oh, by the way, I have ADHD. That time it was ADD because they changed the DSM-5. With the DSM-5, it changed. Does that change anything? Does that mean anything different? I said, well, just a little bit. Yes, actually. And I was learning more and more about what those with ADHD were struggling with and how their mindset was and how their thought process was, I should say, more than anything. And it was the same time that my son was exhibiting symptoms of ADHD, which, by the way, he does definitely have. And this all kind of happened at the same time, and it explained why I was having to come up with some really unique systems for my clients and help them a little differently than some of my others, because it does make a difference. And I realized at that time, wow, this is a very misunderstood and underserved population. And a lot of the people that I was working with, they may have gotten a late diagnosis, which, by the way, is super common now, but they were ashamed. They didn't want to tell anybody. This was a big secret. Now, I don't want anyone to know I have this because I didn't want to be looked at differently. It was a big problem for the kids, but it was also an issue for the adults. And they didn't understand really how their brain was working and how to use it properly and how to get past some of the challenges that they were experiencing. They just figured, well, I'm broken, so that's the way it is. Like, oh, no. You got some strengths there, and I'm going to help you figure out how to harness them and be very successful. This is not a reason or an excuse that you should hold yourself back. So it just became, a passion of mine. And of course, now with DEI, it's more accepted, and now businesses have accommodations, whereas that before you just never told your employer that, I have this issue. No. But now they have, often a quota. And so they're like, hey, bring it on. So if you can learn how to be really successful despite having challenges with a neurodiversity, ADHD, autism, and such, then you're fine. You're fine. And this is what I like to do.
No, and what I like what you do too is a lot of business owners and upper management don't understand autism, so that's why they shoot it. They don't. I mean, what you don't know, you don't know. So the best way, and not that I don't blame them, I kind of understand. But you've come in. I know you work with businesses that have DEI. It's important. Now, neurodiverse is, what's the definition of that? I should ask that first, but I'm going to ask now.
I don't know if I've actually looked that up, but for the most part, it's just someone whose brain chemistry is different. And they need to know, first of all, understand it. So my specialty is ADHD. I can't speak to all neurodiverse issues, but that's pretty much where my area of expertise lies. And it's really just a a lack of neurotransmitters. Dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin are the three main ones that are not produced in adequate numbers in order to help the executive functioning skills of the prefrontal cortex work as well as they should. And there are often there's a lot of frustration and stress and overwhelm because of the procrastination and the anxiety and everything that comes along with this. And in order to help someone kind of get past that and not let that hold them back, I teach the skills how to do that. And everyone is a little different, of course. So my coaching is mostly one-on-one because a lot of people, they have some privacy in confidential, requests, which of course I honor. And I like to make sure that they feel completely comfortable sharing whatever's going on for them in whatever aspect of their life they're having a challenge. So in terms of what is neurodiversity? Just someone whose neurology is different. But there's a lot of my colleagues, and we don't like the last D and the ADHD to be disorder, but difference. So attention deficit hyperactivity difference is a little bit more along the lines of the way we like to define it.
And it's true. I mean, it's exactly what you're saying. That's the real definition of those four letters. Yes. It's not it's not an end all be all. And that's the power of what
not at all. Not at all.
So give us an example of someone you work with ADHD. What I'd like to hear, I know the audience probably wants to hear too, is how did you work with them and what skill set were they able to find with your coaching?
Okay. I've got so many stories, but I'll give you the one that jumps to my mind immediately. So I was working with this wonderful gentleman, CPA, and he's very successful for the most part. At the beginning, when we first met, his job was kind of in the balance a little bit because he was not billing enough hours to justify his salary, basically. And he had, his schedule was not structured well at all. So one of the first things we did was we started looking at where he was spending his time and why. And we restructured it considerably. So he was able to see, I had him kind of track what he was doing and how long it was taking him to do certain things. For the most part, just FYI, most of us underestimate how long it's going to take us to do something. That's just human nature. But those with ADHD, it can be twice as long to do something as, yes. So for a lot of people, we say, oh, you know what? I'll call you back in a minute. I'll do that in 2 seconds. I'll be there in 5 minutes. None of that is accurate, but it's the way we speak. So we've gotten to this mindset of, oh, I can get that done because I know what to do and I see it done. So it'll just happen, but it takes more time than we often expect. So we start just like, oh, I'll do these 3 things in the next 10 minutes. And then it takes an hour. Well, your whole day is thrown off. So I teach how to estimate time properly, how to schedule your day properly, how to prioritize properly. And once these things are put into place and then structure is created, as much as a lot of people say, oh, but I want to have the spontaneity in my life and I want to have all this just free flowing and it'll all work out. It doesn't always work out. And not only that, but we actually crave structure. Just like kids do too. A lot of people think, oh, but my kid likes to do, no. Kids actually benefit by having structure. It makes them feel safe and comfortable. Well, we haven't really outgrown that when we become adults. And that doesn't mean we can't have spontaneity and all that wonderful play and joy in our lives. We just need to also have some structure in place and create free time. And I call it guilt-free free time. Plan when you're going to go and just not do anything. And when you do that, and you know that, oh my gosh, I've got this chunk of time that I'm just gonna, chill out and do whatever it is you want to do. But up until that time, I've got these things that need to happen. And this is how they're going to happen. I have corrected people's sleep problems, their stress, their anxiety, because if you don't have structure and you don't have a plan in place, you are ruminating on all the things you need to do for hours every day. And then you stay up all night thinking about all the things you need to remember to do that you didn't put down on a list or didn't schedule anywhere. That's not going to go well for you. I have yet to see that work well for anybody. I don't even do it. And I'm very structured and organized.
Yeah, and that's a great tip. And I love, like, dieting, you can cheat once in a while, but structure your cheating. That is such an important tip. That's
A good one.
it's simple but not easy. Not
Exactly.
everybody's doing it. That's why they hire you. Not everybody's doing that.
And I help hold people accountable, but at the same time, I teach them little tricks that might help in order to get past some of the, I don't want to, or, they'll find ways to justify not doing something. And I've helped some people with a lot of issues, shall we say, and some OCD, which I don't cure that, of course, but a lot of times there's these mindsets of, well, I'm just going to get this done. I'm going to do this, and then I'll do that. Well, let's talk about why and where's the benefit here. So I help people unpack all that so we can make sure that, the time and effort you're putting towards something is actually your desire. Yeah. And there's something at the end of the path here that you're getting to. Otherwise, the motivation will also tend to dissipate. So I keep people motivated and help them get to that next place. And the end of this story of this person that I was working with, once he got all the structure in place, we also worked on his speaking skills, presentation. He started going out and bringing in new business, and he actually increased his billable hours by 400% and is now up for managing partner. So that's, I'd say, a pretty good return.
That ROI is off the charts.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me, and maybe Arn's picked this up, this is a lawyer that went to law school, passed everything, but had this issue because it didn't affect the schooling, but it affected his business. Yeah. And that's the invisible condition. Yeah. What was he?
CPA.
Oh, CPA. Well, still had to study for that.
Yeah.
You got to take the same type
credentials.
Of
yes.
And it's a great lesson, Julie. Thank you. Because you might have an invisible condition like this. You want to reach out, Julie, or get, awareness is your big thing.
Yes.
If I'm aware, then we can work on it.
Yes. And then also teaching the skills. There's a lot of little tricks that have been very successful for people. And they just need to stick to it. And everybody, backpedals a little bit and it's like, oh, well, I stopped and then all this stuff happened again. It's like, okay, well, let's get you back on track. Now that you know that not being on track has this result, how can you stay back on, on the track consistently? Okay, what do we need to put in place so that when you do take a little bit of a tangent, and that's normal, that's okay, but you need to be able to direct yourself back onto your track.
The key word there is consistency. That doesn't mean every day being consistent. Bad day today, next 10 days are good. That, and audience, understand that it's such a powerful message, especially across the board. Julie, what I loved about you when I first met you is your experience. I think experience can teach a lot of people a lot of things. Ways you learn now that if you went back, you could make your not before life, but make your other years better. What have you learned that said, if I did this, I could have implemented it here to make my life better?
That's such a good question. I've been putting in corrections, I should say, kind of like throughout my entire career. I have been self-employed my entire adult life. It's what I know. But I work with a lot of people in the corporate arena, and I got my master's of science degree in industrial organizational psychology. So I understood the corporate arena better. And so I think if I would have gotten credentials sooner on, earlier on. That would have been an asset.
Yeah.
If I had that earlier. However, to that point, I will say that having the life experience and the business experience prior to going back to school, and getting the degrees and credentials, I would not have had all the wonderful knowledge, wisdom, and case studies, if you will, that helped me get my degree. So that there's something to be said for that. So I don't know if there's anything in particular that I would have done differently, because each time I wanted to do something, I kind of just did it. I've had 7 companies in the course of my career, all different, all different kinds of businesses. Yeah, I hold a federal trademark on a product I created. I've done a lot of different things, which allowed me the opportunity to be able to work with people who had a service business or a product company, or a combination of both, because I've had both as well.
You're a true servant's heart. I love it, because you're out there serving and making impact. I mean, like I said, some of your accolades are pretty incredible. Having 7 businesses, I think people are listening like cringe, like, oh, 7 businesses? It can be done. She's not alone, and you can do it, and it's not for everybody. You'll tell that people that 8 to 5 is probably not it could be just the best place for you, and that's okay.
Mhm.
That's not a bad thing, and it's why people find your genius. I have a guest on, she talked about last week, find your genius, and that's what you help them do. This has been incredible, because I know what neurodiverse is. I've been meaning to ask you that, but I think the audience needs to hear, especially owners, high level executives, what that means. And I would suggest to reach out to Coach Julie. And how can they find you? They want to reach out.
So easy to find. You can reach me find my website, which is just coachjulie.com, and Julie is spelled Juli. There is no E at the end. And you can just Google my name. I'm the only Julie Shulam on the internet. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. And I'd be delighted to communicate with anybody who has any questions or wants to know more about what I do and how I can help.
And I think DEI people out there, coaches, advisors, consultants, you're in that industry, reach out to her, because she's an expert at it. I know our first call, I'll never forget just how powerful what you do. It's just incredible. So, but I got one big personal question.
What?
This is really personal. So you go into a restaurant, there's 4 chairs. You occupy one of them. Who are in the other 3 seats? Why? And what food would you eat? And this is dead or alive.
Dead or alive? What does that mean?
I mean, some people like Jesus is, was somebody's choice.
Dead or alive people.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
The food's already dead, so we have to worry about that.
All right. All right. So people I would like to, oh my goodness. Simon Sinek. I love his work. Tony Robbins. He's one of the first people I heard that inspired me and motivated me. And because of that, I ended up starting one of my companies. And yeah, just, and third, Shonda Rhimes, if I'm saying her name correctly. The brilliance of that woman and what she has created. Oh my gosh. I love watching her TED Talks, and every time she's broadcast.
Her shows are
unbelievable. Her shows are brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes, genius. Yeah, that creativity is awesome. So probably those 3 people, that would be amazing. What would I be eating? Well, sadly, I have such a restricted diet with so many food allergies that, nothing that exciting.
Yeah, what's your favorite food?
Fish. I
There you
love
go.
fish
Piece of
and
salmon, halibut,
salmon,
salmon.
either of them. I love Italian food, but I can't eat anything gluten, so it'd be some gluten-free pasta with salmon and fresh roasted vegetables. That's pretty much the bulk of
I
it.
shouldn't ask this question. It's getting to lunchtime. I'm getting hungry, but I love the answers. What an eclectic group. And that's
All
when I
right.
ask that question, it's such a great answer. But I get to learn about you, and the audience gets to learn about you, which we have. So I want to thank you so much for being on. We've run out of time. It flew by. You are a blessing.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honored and delighted that I got to be on your show. Thank you so much, Steve.
Oh, you're very welcome. Do me a favor, audience. Comment on YouTube, or when she comes on my podcast in a couple months, comment. I'll get those comments to her. Reach out to her. All this information be in the show notes. So if you can't access it, you can reach out to me, and I'll connect you with her as well. I think if you're thinking DEI, you're thinking you have some of these diverse, neurodiverse situations, reach out and ask her questions. Maybe you're not, but she can at least help you. And what I love about her, she'll connect you the right way. And I've seen her do that. She's very powerful that way. Don't forget my TV show, Together We Serve, every Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. It's on Roku, Apple TV, Samsung TV, LG TV. Imagine my big old head on your 70-inch screen. You know what? Don't imagine that. Let's scratch that. But check it out. I think you'll love it. And as always, me and Julie, thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast. We'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.